Yay, I got it right. I remembered which one of my 6 extra keys is the record button. You'd think I know by now, but welcome, everybody, to the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast, coming to you live. And it's actually happening now. Oh my God, if I had a day. Holy crap. But I'm here. I was originally not going to be here because I work in high school sports, and in Indiana, we were in sectional playoffs. We were in sectional championship. Mother Nature had other plans for that game, so we didn't play it. My drive home resulted in me now having to get my car towed, and I will be having something's going on with the radiator because apparently, now I do sports medicine, so blood on the inside is a good thing when you keep the blood inside, and I think that antifreeze, radiator fluid, coolant, should stay on the inside. That's kind of how I think. Apparently, it's bad if it starts to sweat. So I know more about cars than just that. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. So I've been coordinating with my wife and my in-laws to figure out how the hell I'm going to get to work, how she's going to get to work, and all that fun stuff in between. But yes, I keep looking off to my right. For those of you who are used to this, I'm looking at chat right now, or at least attempting to look at chat. I have adjusted where my microphone is. It used to be off to my side here. Now I have a much better, cleaner look at you guys. And by you guys, I mean the camera and the blank wall behind the camera that I'm staring at. It is a very pretty shade of blue, but yeah. That's what's going on there. Started talking out about a little bit of microphone stuff using the USB version of the Earthworks Icon. Great microphone. There is an XLR version, so it has a different connector in the back. Works great with certain boom mic stands, kind of what I'm using here, this whole thing that you can kind of see on camera a little bit. But that kind of works out. Certain ones come with XLR cables built in, and you can't really change them or anything like that. On top of that, you need a separate DAC, a way to power it. That costs more money on top of that, but when you're already spending that much money on a microphone, it's really just an extra little cost that you're not too worried about. My thought is, depending on what you would want to do, kind of depends on your situation. Theoretically, you'd get better sound quality from a good XLR microphone and a good DAC. In terms of ease of use, USB microphones are the way to go. In terms of detail of how you can mess with things and change things, XLR with the DAC and all the extra stuff, although you can mess a ton with it. I'm sure you've noticed in the last couple podcasts here, the sound of my voice has deepened just a little bit, and things have gotten a little crispier, a little less tinny, a little more woody, like the word gone. But yeah, so adjusted some stuff with OBS. Again, if you guys are looking into doing some streaming or doing anything like that, you can... What the heck? Alias, you set this... Screw you, Nightbot. Screw you. But yeah, I am for... I can't adjust. I can't fix Nightbot right now. Apparently, it's yelling at me. Nightbot also works really well, but yeah, you got to fix things. Apparently, the link I sent doesn't work. I don't know. But you can always go into the description below. It's to the Linktree, which sends you to everything. My general thing is to go do it for the least amount of money you're willing to spend, but don't do it cheap, if that makes sense. Do it inexpensively. Going cheap, basically there's and I'm going to butcher it, the adage, you do it cheap, or the cheap man pays twice as much or something along those lines. But sorry, I'm getting more text about this. This Nightbot thing is annoying me, so I'm going to be looking over here and talking to you guys. But the cheap man pays twice as much, essentially. So if you buy something really cheap and really crappy, you're going to end up paying twice as much for it rather than spending the little bit extra and just getting something that you know works. That's kind of where we're at there. Yes, I've allowed that. I know. Commands. Default? No. Timers? Timers. Edit. Let's do that. Submit. Let's do this. I don't know. Chat lines. I'm just making things up as I go along. That's just how today is. Because I'm just trying to get things done. Trying to make life work. Let's see if that fixes anything. We won't know for quite a while. Is there Facebook chat? Nope. Nobody in Facebook. The only people who like to talk are the people on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube people. And thank you, the disc golf photography guy. I always want to say photographer guy. Reading is hard. That Catholic education just is not doing so well. But so yes, talking about some of our topics here. A few things that I want to talk about are the pausing of my Disc Golf Network subscription. They will not be getting any money from me for a little while here. And on top of that, talking about a gaping hole that I've noticed throughout disc golf and disc golf media and disc golf, blah, 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 all that fun jazz. But I have to reply to this. Background. All right, so just my in-laws talking to me about some car stuff. Again, sorry, trying to keep this focused here, but I was asked to check the levels of my antifreeze in my car, and I said, judging by the levels of antifreeze on the ground, the levels in my car are pretty low. So there's that. That's a thing that's happening. But the other thing is the big gaping hole, bow chicka bow wow, that needs to be filled. Hey chicka bum bum. That in disc golf media that I'm going to be trying to fill. So one thing that I looked up and that actually inspired me, I'll start with, well, I'll save that for later. Teaser. Actually, what's going on is going to be the fact that YouTube is yelling at me again. I remember why. But I'm pausing. I'm stopping I've canceled. You have the option to pause. I've straight up just canceled my Disc Golf Network subscription. Why? Why, you might ask? Well, meet my friend the dead horse that I'm about to beat again. Because, I have no idea what's going on with the car. But, it doesn't quite work right now. I have no idea. I didn't hit anything. There's no road debris. There's nothing. I drove to Chicago on Wednesday. It's been a week. Drove to the Chicago area and back 3.5 hours each way without issue and for a funeral. But, I don't know what's going on. It's not great. Chevys are fantastic. This is the second time I've had an issue like this with a Chevy, by the way. Moving into this, that's enough of the Joe's car show, which he knows jack squat about cars, and the this is also not the Joe's microphone review channel, although I do have one of those up there, and it's good stuff. But going back to why I canceled my Disc Golf Network subscription, I am. How do I want to say this? I try to be a man of principles. And by that, I mean, I might not make the right decision, the fastest decision, or anything like that. But when I try to make a decision, whether it's in my personal life, in my professional life, in my disc golf life, I try to live as the best person I can be, and treat others how you want to be treated, whether you're religious or not. Those are good morals to live by. If you're a jerk to someone, they're going to be a jerk back, and vice versa. I try to be nice to everyone. It doesn't always happen, but I am human. So I have said that, when you've done something wrong, or whether or not you think you've done something wrong, I've done things that were wrong that I, at the time, may or may not have thought was wrong. What the hell just happened? Okay, I'm going to stop looking at the screens because I am recording, so we're good there. And I've admitted that. I've looked back and, maybe I didn't think about it from a certain way. Maybe sometimes the mouth moves, sometimes the mouth moves faster than the brain. Yeah, exactly. So I say it again, right? Sometimes the mouth moves faster than the brain, or gut reactions. Again, human, I say stupid things. I talk for well over 45 minutes, usually just on this podcast. Another hour on the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, which you should look it up. It's also on this channel. Episode got uploaded late here. Didn't get a chance to record because of the funeral I was attending. So again, it was up to Ian and RJ, who did a really good job until the Beansplosion. It's Ian's nickname for his son. He is okay, but things have changed and not so great. He's fine. He's good. Got sick, and it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. But you'll find that out if you watch or listen to Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast. We record typically a couple days before it goes out. But I, do the right thing. I man up and admit when I am wrong. And I've been wrong before. I pray to God that I am wrong about Eagle's shoulder. I pray that I was somewhere in between with Simon's shoulder. And what I'm getting to is the cowardly, lackluster way that the Disc Golf Network went about talking about Elaine King's oopsie doodle. That was pretty much the nice way they said it. If you missed it, I went over it in the last podcast. I'm not going to read over their note again, but basically, I am not a fan of the fact that at no point did she take ownership and say, yeah, that was bad. That my bad, yo. Sorry, dog. Didn't even give a politician's response of like, well, you see, there's a whole bunch of different factors out there. We got to look at this, and we got this, and the Canadians and the trees, and we've got maple syrup, and then we've got fish and salmon and the oysters. And somehow there's an apology in there. Politicians are great at that. I am not a politician. Dear God, I am not a politician. Not that there's skeletons. I just don't want to deal with the evil of politics because, yeah. Anyway, didn't even give an apology. Didn't even acknowledge it, essentially. Did that fluff piece with the disc golf guy, Terry Miller, and that was about it. Said that, it was the best intentions. Never once did I hear the words I was like, yeah, that was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that. I've never seen an apology. I could be wrong. Maybe she did it on an Instagram video, an Instagram story, and I missed it. I am, again, human. I am one person, and I might have missed it. So if there's something out there to the contrary of what I'm saying, please let me know, and I will acknowledge that. But to my knowledge, there hasn't really been an apology. And maybe now I'm looking at this through a pretty intense lens, but it seems like she is hardcore rooting for Paige while trying to do coverage. Now, as a commentator, as a color commentator, your job is to like, oh yeah, the disc landed over here, and that's a pretty tough spot because of blah 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 blah. And you're the color commentator. You're supposed to add the flavor. The play-by-play guy is like, yep, the disc landed here, and this is it, and there's the OB, and there's the basket. And you go, well, yeah, you see this, and then she's probably going to have to stretch out and get this forehand or get this weird backhand or whatever. Color commentate. Back in my day, we did this, we did that. Cool, whatever. But it just seemed like every time that Paige did something, she was rooting that on, which is fine. But then when other people would screw up, she was rooting that on because, that meant Paige was going to get a bigger lead or, catch up to someone or whatever the situation might be. And so maybe I'm just looking through it that way. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Disc Golf Network with that situation right there. They said that they're letting her contract run out the next 7 events she's scheduled to do. I know everybody's scheduled to do X amount and all that. And maybe there are, playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, there are a couple things that went through my head. One, it might be too damn hard, too damn costly for them to just get rid of her. Whatever it is in the contract, it might be too much. It might be just that they waited a couple weeks for this to go and they're hoping for it to fly under the radar and it didn't. That's one option. And another option is they just don't care that much and it doesn't matter. They claim to listen to the disc golfers and all that stuff, but the best way to vote is vote with your wallet, and I am voting with my wallet. And either I will start up my subscription again next year or not. That's fine. Perfectly fine. I will be happy to watch the crap they put out for free and be happy to watch Jomez Gatekeeper Central Coast, whatever, post-produced. I will do my best. I only caught bits and pieces of OTB. Again, this was a rough weekend, so I didn't get to watch as much as I would have liked, but I did get to see some of that. I thought the course for OTB was pretty good. I thought the move to Stockton out of San Francisco last year was a good idea, and that seems to be really paying off this year. So there's that. What am I at for recording time? Just want to see how long I've been chit-chatting here for 20 minutes-ish because, I've had some issues there. But, yes. Yeah, I am... I don't appreciate that. And, that's fun that they threw in the whole 5-time world champion, Hall of Famer. That's cool. That has bullplop to do with her color commentating skills, which I was kind of on the fence before, and now I'm just kind of like, nah, pass. Send it to Terry and Ian, and I believe that's it. Maybe get what's his name from Eisenhold. I think I said his last name right. Charlie. I thought he does a pretty decent job. He's got a good voice for radio, I believe. I'd like to think I have a good voice for radio. But the disc golf photography guy says, I don't think a board member should be allowed to be a commentator. Conflict of interest should be removed. Yeah, I agree. That's also kind of why I'm on the fence about running for the PDGA board. Just because I feel like I'd have to shut this channel down just because of railing against it. I don't know. It's weird because no one pays for this. I'd like to think it would be a great outlet to let everybody know what's going on behind the scenes at the PDGA. Obviously, within reason, there are certain things that need to be kept quiet before their final release. For obvious reasons, like, you don't want to put out a half-baked. Let's try this a third time. Half-baked plan. Words are so hard right now because then, you look like an idiot. You might not have thought every scenario through or enough of the obvious scenarios through, and then you're saying you're an idiot. So I get that. But hey, this is what we're working on, this kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. I am not, but I had considered running for the board. Because let's face it, outside of like 2 people, I could be the son or grandson of most of the people on the board. Nate Heinhold, I think he's the board president. I think we're relatively close in age. And then I think there's one lady that got in last year that she is younger. And when I say younger, I mean like late 30s ish. So that was my thought. And it seems like every year there's only like 5 people who run. And I had really just considered just like doing it and just being like, this is my thing. This is what I think. I'm not going to pussyfoot around it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is stupid. We shouldn't do that. You know, that kind of stuff. The thing I am not certain about is the time commitment. Not so much for getting the podcast done and all that, but between work and then seeing my daughter, because she's awesome. Anyone who has kids, they're awesome. I mean, they have their moments where you're like, why did I do this? And then it's followed up by multiple days worth of like, I'm so happy I did this. But everybody has those moments where you're just like, why? And then you go, man, I really need to thank my parents, because if this is what my kid's doing, I know I did so much stupid crap too. And here's the thing, she's 8 months old and I'm already like, Mom and Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What was I thinking? Oh my God. I can't wait until she starts to talk. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. She's already sassy. She's already sassy pants. Side note, trying to push this. Do have Discord server, Discord chat area, do have a general chat. And so if you're not part of the Discord server, you can look in the description below and you could join that. I'd considered still keeping the podcast. It's one of those things. I might do it. I'm scared that I might actually win. What was that? There's a movie. There was a couple different movies where I think one was a Richard Pryor movie in like the 70s or 80s, and he had to spend a whole ton of money, and he decided to run for office, and he didn't expect to win, ran a really terrible campaign, just said whatever was on top of his mind, and he ended up winning. So I think that's a problem. In multiple sense of the word, I think it's a problem that more of our elected leaders in disc golf can't speak their mind or articulate what's on their mind or don't care for us peons. But that's besides the point. I still have 5 days to consider this. Maybe I'll throw in an application. Who knows? I just go ahead and, I think last year Terry Miller interviewed everybody. I could do it with my set here all set up, the welcome to reality, or, there will be no working during drinking hours, or potentially I'd give up beer, but I'm no quitter. I do have a giant beer cap that says life's too short to drink bad beer. Except on camera, because it's black and a lot of the writing is in dark red, it looks terrible. I tried to put it up for the Half in the Bag podcast a couple times, and the amount of light that would need to be on that versus what is reasonable, two very different things. So you can kind of see here, that looks fine. You get it back here. All right, shut up, it works. But life's too short to drink bad beer. Just make a whole joke of it. Get decked out in the Joe's Disc Golf stuff. Wear the hat, wear the shirt, hang up some stuff behind me here. Just almost treat it as a joke. Unfortunately, whatever. I give my honest answers. Yeah. So there's that. Don't forget to like. If you're watching, don't forget to throw a like down here. It really helps out the algorithm. The more people chatting, the more people liking, the more people commenting after the fact, the more people that will get to see my ugly mug. And if you don't like looking at my ugly mug, you can listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm on Anchor, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Google Podcasts, whole bunch of different ones. So, speaking of gaping holes, bow chicka bow wow. Not the one that is apparently in my radiator somewhere. I got a little nervous after I parked the car. I saw some of it dripping down. I opened the hood. It started to steam, and that is under very high pressure and very hot. So I just kind of shut the shut the hood again. And I was like, yeah, nope, not worth third-degree burns. I mean, I'm already ugly enough as it is, so third-degree burns, probably not a good idea for the whole, face for radio. But, yeah, just double checking. No other comments. Yeah, cool. The gaping hole. So what kind of inspired me and kind of got me motivated? Well, one, the couple videos I've done about rehab, disc golf like rehab and disc golf strengthening, just some basic shoulder exercises. I've been saying I'm working on the elbow, wrist, forearm because it's all kind of one thing for a while now. Talking about back stuff. That's all coming out soon. Hopefully, been saying that for a while. It's a government job. It'll come out when it's done. Just throw a couple $1 billion at it. I wish. Oh man. But going to do that, I was like, okay, so a lot of that was getting traction. Then I was just like, okay, people are coming to the website and looking for some of this rehab stuff, some of these exercise things, some of this other stuff that's going on. But I don't have a great way to get that out there. Yes, I have the Joe's Disc Golf website, but that's kind of news and analysis and opinion and stuff. And if you've noticed, I'm hoping tomorrow I'm switching hosting providers because the current hosting provider sucks. I won't name names, but it ends in host, which names about all of them. And I'm switching to a new one where the name starts with host. And it's a lot faster, it's a lot better, but there's some issues that should be cleared up by the time this podcast goes live. So that gets me the whole thing of I decided to start another website, and I'm starting another YouTube channel because I have so much free time I don't even know what to do with myself. Sleep is for the weak. I'm starting Disc Golf Healthy, discgolfhealthy.com. And what that is a free service to get information out to you. So you can have a longer, healthier, more profitable, prolific, that's the word, disc golf career. So you can do things like strengthen up your shoulder, strengthen up your forearm muscles, strengthen your back and your core. Huge things. You can have Ezra's legs and Ezra's shoulders and arms, but if you don't have Ezra's core, it is so wasted. And not like the good kind of wasted, the bad kind of wasted, where you end up throwing up all over the place and you end up in some family's rec room eating a squirrel or something. I don't even know. I've watched Anchorman recently, and I kind of mashed a whole bunch of things together there. But that's the whole. Like, you have Disc Golf Strong, and there's a couple things you can get for free, but that's it. That's just a couple things. You have to pay them for anything that's actually worthwhile, where I am taking a very different approach to that. I am going to have a whole bunch of content up there. I'm going to have, I've got stuff that I'm working on specifically for the shoulder. Similar to the video I have out already, there'll be another version of that coming up, going onto that YouTube channel, which has technically launched. But if it's, there's no videos on it. It's, just search Disc Golf Healthy and you should find it. There is no logo for it yet either. I'm working on that. I believe it might be in my Linktree. So you might be able to look at that. But the model I'm going with is just providing you this information, providing you this service. My plan is to get a whole bunch of different workout routines, rehab routines, write up different stuff about just health in general and how it can tie back into disc golf, how to make you better, get stuff like healthy snacks, what you should eat before a round, in the middle, like in between rounds, and after, how to properly stretch, how to properly warm up and cool down, and all that stuff. How to make you the best disc golfer you can be. What really got the creative juices flowing was just seeing how there's nothing out there. And I want to provide this to you guys. And I want to do it for free. I am taking, I'm not going to have ads on there. I'm not going to lock certain stuff off between a paywall or anything like that. There is a button to the side that says buy me a coffee. It is a Patreon alternative where they take less money and more money goes to the creator. So there's that. And I've kind of promoted that a little bit, but basically it's a value-based system. So if you think what I offered you is worth a couple bucks, cool, great. You can send that over. If you don't think it's worth anything, that's fine. There are also affiliate links to some of the equipment that I recommend. You don't have to use them. You don't have to buy them. I tell you the names of everything. So if you want to go separate and do it all on your own, that's fine. I'm not here to swindle, pilfer, or steal any of your money. I'm being 100% straight up with you guys because that's just who I am. You know, Eagle Scout, Boy Scout, Order of the Arrow. It's an honor society for Boy Scouts. You know, raised in a Catholic family, in a Catholic system. Say what you will about religion. You know, good morals, essentially. You know, don't steal, be honest, tell the truth. At my high school, we had the saying, act manfully in Christ Jesus, where basically it's like, do the right thing, be a good guy, you know, help someone out, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. And that's exactly what I'm going for here. So if you think what I'm going to offer, what I'm offering is handy, useful, whatever, then you can go ahead and, like I said, send a couple bucks. There is no limit. It's not like, and there's no monthly recurring fee. If you want to send $6 one time, that's it. You send $6 one time. You could, there is a monthly subscription that just helps out the channel, and that's great too. If not, no big deal. But that's where I'm going with that. So again, everything is going to be free. I'm going to have videos there. I'm going to have articles with GIFs in them. It's a GIF with a G, GIF. And I'm going to have all that stuff out there. So I have a description of how the exercise works and then a 5-second GIF of myself doing whatever that exercise is so you can see how to do it. There'll also be a short video at the bottom of me just going, what's up? It's Joe. Let's go. I got the stuff. Here we go. You know, or whatever. I'll have stuff for just body weight with no equipment, stuff with just resistance bands. If you want to use resistance bands, if you have some kettlebells or dumbbells at home, you can use some of those. If you have access to a gym, you know, I'll have it written out in a way. I could have it written out in a way that just makes sense where it's like, okay, you're going to do, you know, this bench press and then, you know, pull-ups and then something else and something else and something else. I'm not very good at thinking about this on my feet. I have to plan it out and write it out. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So Disc Golf Healthy, discgolfhealthy.com. You can go there. You can bookmark it. It just says coming soon. That's about it. Because I'm still working on everything. I'm trying to get everything all planned out. Try to get at least the resistance bands and the isometric stuff done in one shot. Get that all out so that you can just show up and just go, all right, I want to strengthen my ankles. I want to work on my balance and I want to do my shoulder. Or I want to do my shoulder and my elbow, wrist, forearm. I say it because it's all, a lot of the muscles, a lot of the things that control your fingers and your wrist, those muscles connect all the way down at your elbow. That is your anatomy lesson for the day. Show you how to stretch and all that stuff. So let me know what you guys think about that. I'm really curious what you guys are thinking. Is that something that you want to look into or would benefit from? Is that something you'd use? That was a roundabout way of saying it. Just because, you know, this is what it is. That's what I think. I think there is this big gap. It's like I was also inspired by the article that was posted on UDisc today or maybe yesterday, where they talked about overthrow disc golf and how they've just shot up in popularity. They've just to the moon. They must have invested in Doge before it was bad to have Doge coin. But and talked about how he was a tennis instructor and then is now a full-time disc golf instructor because there was a huge need because there's no real, he was able to take a fresh approach to it and not have all this extra baggage of disc golf knowledge, essentially, of learning the right way, which is not necessarily the right way anymore. But looking at, say, what's it like sorry, my cat was just attacking my feet. Looking at the just rehab out there and the exercises and all that stuff, it's just not there at all. Or if it is there, it's behind a paywall. And I don't think that's right. I'm not worried about anybody stealing this or doing any of that. As a certified athletic trainer, as someone who has their credential in applied functional science, gives me a little more latitude with exercise and rehab protocols, and just some other extra training that I have that don't necessarily come with fancy letters after your name. I think this is a great idea. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to get that launched by July at the latest. It depends on how much free time I have between now and then. It might come out sooner. It just might. But I believe that is about all for today. I don't really have anything else going on. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. It's your last call for questions. If not, that's cool. No worries. YouTube says I simultaneously have 0 and 4 people in chat. So thank you, YouTube. This is kind of your last chance, kind of dragging out. It's a good Midwest goodbye right here. Just saying goodbye for the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. But if there are no questions, comments, concerns, or screams of pain, I believe that does it for the show. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. I've been Joe. You've been awesome. If you get kicked deeper into the woods, well, you have transgressed against treasus, and you must repent and reflect. Unless you get kicked back into the fairway, then you have done something to make treasus happy. So thank you all for watching. Can't wait to talk to you all in the next video.